Welcome to Div Tech 101, aka Black Mantle, as I discuss information technology, also known as IT. And so I want to talk to you today about how these tariffs in the tech industry are basically shaking up big tech and is shaking up the magnificent seven tech giants as we know of as Apple, Microsoft, Nvidia, Tesla, Meta, aka Facebook, and Amazon. Now, they're going to prepare to release their quarterly earnings. So they're definitely going to have to grapple on a list of significant challenges that is stemming from President Trump and the Trump administration on the recent tariffs. And if you looked at a previous video that I did, I basically went over this, talking about and just kind of giving you my perspective from the tech side, because you will actually feel it down to your mobile device or any other platforms that you use, especially if you're a small business and things of that nature. Now, any of you can look at the article is off of the CNBC.com, which the title of the biggest questions facing big tech. But here's some of the things that we would definitely need to look at. When you look at these companies collectively that I named, these companies have seen market value decline by approximately $3.8 trillion, and that's like 22% since January of 2025. And we're not even a half a year in, but this is largely due to the supply chain disruptions and regulatory uncertainties that the market that we're able to look into right now. But when you look at company specific challenges, for example, when you look at NVIDIA, they incurred about a $5.5 billion change after the US banned exports of certain AI chips to China. AI people, artificial intelligence, all this chat GPT, Genie, and all these platforms you all are using, I know you know they're just in a cloud somewhere. But these are actual physical servers that are sitting somewhere that you may not know, and it takes resources. You can look at XAI as well, which is located in Memphis. You can look at that as being an example of a massive computer called Colossus that they use for their AI driven platform. It takes resources to build and go through this. When you look at Tesla, since we're talking about XAI, when you look at Tesla, Tesla dropped and reported about a 13% in Q1. 13%. Amid the backlash that's going on right now related to Elon Musk and his involvement with the Trump administration. That's a whole other topic for a different day, so we're not going to actually discuss that portion on this channel. But because of what's in the cars, like for example with Tesla, you have the glass that's on the car, you have the computer that's also inside the vehicle as I'm aware. And also you have the circuit boards and the battery cells on the car. Those have to come from somewhere. Somebody's paying for them. And so those that's the kind of things that I'm talking about. Here is that these drops from an average everyday consumer who may not know what these companies do behind the scenes, they just use their product. They're just a consumer. You have to be concerned about this because this will eventually dip into your pocket. It's going to hit your pocket at some point, whether you like it or not. It's going to impact you in some way. When you look at the Alphabet company, aka Google, you must know that they face potential declines in the digital ad market with the revenue due to reduced spending by Chinese advertisers affected by the tariffs alone. What does that lead into? When you look at the Alphabet company, that leads to them having ads that may go to Shimu or sorry on for Timu, and as well you have a Sheen, and they're pulling at those ads back at least by 21, at least 21% of the retail space with Google ad revenue is in the retail space alone bought by itself. And this is most definitely a problem here. And you can look at all this online. This isn't hidden information. You can readily find this available on the web. But according to the earnings schedule, and you probably should definitely pay attention to it if you're interested in the tech space. When you look at Tesla, they're supposed to be reporting tomorrow, which is going to be April the 22nd. And then you have Alphabet, it's going to be reporting, or Google on the 24th. You have Meta that's going to be reporting on Sorry, Meta and Microsoft are going to be reporting on April the 30th, just a couple of days at the time of this video. And then Amazon and Apple on May the 1st. And then the video is going to be later on in May. But these earnings are basically anticipated to provide some insight on what they've been discussing behind the scenes and how it impacts the tech giants alone to navigate these complexities that's going on right now, introduced by these new tariffs and this landscape that we have. And so we definitely have to look more into this information here. Now, when I'm thinking about all these, I'm thinking about these phones. You know, these iPhones are about to go through the roof. So people are going to be delaying purchases. They're not going to be going out buying any of these phones. They're not going to be going out here doing all this extra buying. And I'd be surprised if people do, because consumers just like to spend money on whatever. Now, despite the Tesla cars getting destroyed and all that right now, for people who getting their cars destroyed, they have to get them repaired. Think about the time it's going to cost for them to do that. Think about it. This is going to be a big problem, people. Even with Apple, although they have not been hit directly yet, but Apple is exposed heavily in China through both manufacturing and sales. But those further escalations are going to come some point down the line and could damage their future earnings as well. But the investors in these companies, they're definitely worried about these retaliatory tariffs that are going on from China. And this is going to be a big problem. This ad revenue is going to hit across Facebook. It's going to hit across Google. It's going to hit across Microsoft as well, and Amazon. When you look at Microsoft, less exposure for the hardware side until they start trying to ramp up more servers for their Copilot AI infrastructure. But this is going to be a problem because the they still have to look and navigate the global licensing aspect on their enterprise software that's going to slow down due to these uncertainties in the markets overseas, because people, you have majority, more than 75% of the market use PC. The other 25% is mostly around at MacBooks. Now, some companies use Chromebooks, but we're talking about for the majority aspect here. But Amazon, as we see these trucks coming up and down these streets, they're going to be dealing with some increased costs as well. And that's going to be a heavy thing for them, because they have to think about the import of electronics and logistics disruption, because this could result in higher consumer prices and lower margin down the line. And Amazon specifically is going to have their costs pass through the vendors, and it will hit the consumers. You can bet your bottom dollar for that. Even though they made their really good shift during COVID, they took advantage and increased that rate, but they're going to get that cost passed down to the consumer because they source a lot of their products and have a lot of things going on in China. Now, Facebook, whether you have an account or not, they're definitely ad revenue driven. Now, they are not as much in the sol or in the hardware market, except for like the Oculus Rift and the virtual reality. But you also got to think about it, the what they have going on with those Ray-Ban glasses, right? But the AI driven platform across all these, everybody's racing to AI, and AI needs supercomputers. They need chips. And I'm only speaking for like just Tesla and Elon Musk, but if you look up XAI, you will see what's behind that, and you can see that that is a supercomputer that works on the AI-driven platform that I'm talking about, and you can actually go and see that like for yourself. It's literally out there on the open web. But Facebook definitely is going to have this ad revenue shaken, because a lot of their ad revenue comes out of China if the global advertisers' budgets begin to tighten up. And that's particularly in Asia alone by itself. But if you don't understand anything else out of this whole video, understand this: the tech sector isn't recession proof, especially in a global economy where tariffs can disrupt everything, because all it takes is for those countries to have retaliatory tariff on us, and they can disrupt everything from component costs to international ad revenue. These earning calls could shape how investors and the public view the resilience of big tech in the most protectionist economic era that we know of right now. But I want you all to pay very, very close attention to this. It doesn't matter if you sweep floors or wash dishes at McDonald's and you got one of these phones, or you going to interact online with all these AI driven platforms. At some point, that tariff is going, the cost of that is going to get passed down to the consumers when this is over, because tech is interconnected everywhere on the planet. It's almost impossible to function in a community unless you live on an island that's not connected to any internet whatsoever. We're all impacted in some way. So I definitely want you to take a look at that information. Definitely share it with families and friends. Like, listen, subscribe. DivTech 101, aka Black Mental. Look forward to bringing more content to you all soon.